Welcome to everyone to a very special event which brings together two societies of some of the finest minds among students and graduates today, at a time when the world is undergoing a major change. COVID-19 has spread across every country, respecting no border, and it touches human lives in a way that leaves its mark. And there's two kinds of people in the world today: those who are longing to go back to the way things were, and those who recognize that at a deeper level, perhaps the pandemic is calling us to look at the way we live our lives and whether we can create a world that is a better one at the end of it. When faced with this much change, how do we access the best of us that is human? How do we touch our creative potential? How do we reach for our own unique gifts? How do we reach for answers that haven't been explored before? And how do we connect in a world where we can no longer meet in the same ways that we once did? And this is where I believe that mindfulness has a very special place. Mindfulness has many definitions, but at its core, what it's really describing is the ability to be in this moment and have a complete awareness. And mindfulness is the method or the tool or the way, but the gift of this equation is the awareness that you touch because of the practices that you do. And mindfulness underpins many ancient wisdom traditions, whether it is meditation, whether it is yoga, whether it's Tai Chi, whether it is Qigong. Beneath all these practices is the call of a human's attention to align their mind, their body, and their spirit. And I bring these three things together because I feel that as humans, we are so much more than simply the physical representation or linear intellectual thought. We have feelings and a richness that is beyond all those things simply added together. And the way we can touch that is when we open our awareness, which has a heart and a mind that is connected. And to tell you a little bit about what mindfulness was for me during this pandemic, I'd like to share you a personal story. I am a sufferer of lung disease, and I found at the start of the pandemic that I had just achieved the fellowship and the job of my dreams, and I was working in UCL and UCH, which is a very prestigious institution. When the pandemic hit, I found my work dramatically changed, and I could no longer do the role I once did. And how did I, at that moment, not lose hope? How did I, at that moment, continue to find ways which I could learn and improve patient care? And that's when I leant back even more into the tools I had used right throughout my life, which was a coming back to a very heart-centered wisdom. In the first wave, I learned that cancer patients no longer had access to their cancer nurses because the nurses were taken to the front line. And then I created a community project sharing simple tools and ideas of mindfulness and meditation online. And while this was a drop in the ocean of need, it reached 1,000 people and made me realize that here was a solution that was very, very powerful. And after that, I started helping friends and friends of friends, and the community project grew, where I started to bring in these different elements of my own life as a creative person, as a scientist, as an artist, as somebody who had grown up with ancient wisdom traditions, to look for ways of connecting in this moment so that I didn't react to situations. Now, as we all know, COVID-19 puts a slight brake on life. You can't do things at the same speed you once did. You can't buy your groceries as quickly. You can't do the work you once did in the same way. And there's also a constant change in the world. But we still have to perform. We still have to do good work. We still have targets and deadlines to meet. And this can create a stress. So, how could I react in a way that didn't come from frustration, didn't come from stress, but allowed me to go to a deeper place and come back with something that was original and new? And the way I did this was by leaning into and creating a practice for myself that was fluid, fluctuated, and connected me with the love and beauty and richness of the earth. I had taken for granted what it was like to be able to travel. Travel was so easy in the pre-COVID world. I had taken for granted simple things like the ability to just nip out and get milk when I wanted it. Um, and these little things, the more I noticed them, the more I realized, what's the call here? And where can we find solutions that are long lasting? Now, when I look at mindfulness in medicine, since John Kabat-Zinn in the late 1970s, early 1980s, who started bringing in the essence of ancient wisdom to the medical world. Today, there are 19,174 papers on mindfulness published on PubMed. Some of the notable studies are meta-analyses on cancer patients where mindfulness has helped with anxiety and depression, a systematic review in the Lancet about how mindfulness helped with physician burnout. And what you notice when you go into these papers at a deeper level is that they're highlighting a few things. Mindfulness has many styles, and there is a heterogeneity in the way it is taught. And this lends itself less well to the traditional ways in which we perform research. And I would add to this that there is also an element of variability in what each human embraces and finds a successful tool for them where mindfulness is concerned. Just as much as if we all went to a record store, we would probably come out with a very different selection of music each. There are so many tools with mindfulness that finding what is right for an individual really is key. And then when we use mindfulness as a treatment, it goes beyond that period of just offering a therapy. It's helping a person to then translate that into a way of life so that you learn how to build these practices so that on the day that you don't have time to meditate in the morning, it's okay. You have meditated many times on days before, and you know how to do a quick 1 minute practice during your 10 o'clock coffee break to center yourself. And this fluidity of practice and evolution with the practice is something which is missing in the way mindfulness is taught as a therapy. It's an area that is ripe for research, and I hope it is something that inspires many of us to hear today to explore it in the future. And when we embrace it, we are embracing a change which is a positive one for ourselves, one which we're giving ourselves the best opportunity at showing up each moment in the best version of ourselves. Now, when you look at it from the point of a patient, why would mindfulness be important? When you encounter the healthcare systems with a disease, take cancer as an example. The first thing a person thinks of the moment they hear the word cancer is, when am I going to die? Cancer and mortality are ingrained in the minds of the public. And one has to navigate a journey where there are many choices that one has to make. You have to weigh sometimes the pros and cons of different treatment choices. You need to be aware of how you handle risk as a person, and hence make choices that will empower you in life. And this is where having a practice of mindfulness would help, because it allows you to detach and create a little gap between what is happening in your life and your response to it. And it has been one of the most rewarding things for me to see patients who were struggling with sleep, struggling with their relationships, how would they break the news to their families, to see them change and realize that cancer is the start of a new chapter, and it is only a chapter in the book of their life. And this is so important. If we think of COVID-19 today, it is a shared common experience that we all have. But we all are so much more than COVID-19 too. We've had a life before it, and we're going to have a life with it. And mindfulness gives you that ability to create a perspective of seeing something for where it fits in the landscape of your life. These are a few of the many benefits that mindfulness gives you. And when we think of it as a healthcare professional, as a medical student, as a doctor, as a nurse, as an occupational therapist, people who are working in hospitals today, we have to work with masks almost the whole day. This doesn't make life very easy. And also the social distancing and the way in which we can communicate has some barriers in comparison to a pre-COVID world. When we are more aware of our circumstances, our situations, and the way the present moment is really set up, we can communicate what we need to communicate in a way that people around us can understand. We can sense when a colleague is tired. We can sense when somebody needs a break and needs to hydrate. We become much more in tune with what is happening around us. And also, we become aware of our own selves and our own energy. Learning to manage our energy as healthcare workers and anybody in the world today is key, because where we sleep well, where we eat well, where we have a rested mind, we can make much better choices. We can be much more productive in the tasks we do. More is not necessarily more all the time. Sometimes less is more. And this is something for us to embrace in the future and in the present moment. Because when we become aware of our energy, we take a different stance. And by energy, I mean a very sensitive idea of where one's own levels of fatigue lie. Because when we're tired, if we are sleep deprived, surely that's going to affect your immunity, going to even affect the way you can analyze information. It's going to affect the way you function. And this can lead into a spiral of reactive behavior, which then doesn't lead to the best outcome for yourself or those who are around you. As a doctor in my own work as a breast cancer imaging specialist, I always have a moment before I enter the room where I would connect with my breath, and I connect with myself before I walk in. And what that split second does before I walk into the room is it allows me to see the patient as not the third or the fourth patient on my list, but there's a freshness to my interaction. And I get a sense for, is this the kind of person who wants to know everything at this visit? Or is it someone who would be better off knowing a certain amount of information and coming back with a family member or a loved one at another time? The tasks I do in my job in a clinic, which is a breast biopsy or a breast aspiration or a breast ultrasound, and telling a patient their mammogram results, are roughly there's a limited range in terms of the tasks. There's a limited range among the things I need to explain. But each human who walks in is so different in the way they're coming into that encounter. From the young woman who is busy and has managed to squeeze in this appointment, to the woman who has lost her husband very recently to cancer and who now may be having a diagnosis of cancer herself. And to each patient, as the breast cancer imager, which is my job, I'm the first person who often sees if something is definitely going to be a cancer when I look at that image. And the way I communicate that information to the patient, I can help them to completely not go into a mode of fear, but to go into a mode of understanding, okay, a significant life event is happening, but treatments have come a long way, and there's much that we can do to support them. There's an entire team that's going to work with that patient from that moment onwards until the end of their cancer journey. And that ability to step into that kind of conversation comes when I'm rested, when I am mindful, when I've done my practices, and when I have connected. Now, I'm human. If I'm on the extra fifth patient I've accepted in a clinic, I haven't had a sip of water all morning, and I'm tired, my ability to give that extra something that makes medicine special is definitely reduced. And I'm aware of that. And hence, I've learned over the years to ask. I just need 5 minutes to get a glass of water. I know someone's going to have to wait, but I know that I'm going to be better when I come back. And that's going to be better for both of us. I've learned that if to always allow enough time for the type of interaction that it's going to take, and to articulate this to hospital management in a way that they understand, they listen, and they respect what you say. I'm very lucky at UCH. We have a lot of support in terms of structuring things to do it well. And you would have the same in Cambridge. It has a wonderful network. And I also feel that when we work in these institutions that are of great privilege, we have an opportunity to articulate this across the board to ensure that those who may not have as many resources could also be supported to care for their patients in this way. Because investment upfront in creating the space to practice great medicine is definitely worthwhile in the future. And if a team approaches this together, the magic is even greater because you have a team that understands, a team that is coherent, a team that knows the strengths and weaknesses of each other, and they can bring that together in a way that enhances the best of everyone. And that's the kind of medicine that we can strive to create and make possible. And I really do believe that these times are a privilege to live in. Yes, there's a lot of change. Yes, it is difficult. But sometimes in that state of fluidity is also the state of opportunity. So when I started the community project Heart of Gaia, creating meditations to help people, what I realized was here was an opportunity of incredible human talent. I was astounded by the acts of kindness that I saw in the community and the heroism of people on a daily basis. That wasn't what I read in the news. What I read in the news was more the story of devastation and the loss of life, which certainly did happen. And I feel it is to honor those who sadly had to leave us because of COVID-19 that we create a better future for everyone who's yet to come, so that their loss was not in vain. So one of the things that I use to inspire me, and if ever I feel, okay, it's not working, I remind myself two things. If I don't try again and try with a deeper sense of awareness, I've lost the really important race of life because I've stopped trying. Not because I lost that individual task, but because I didn't refuel, reflect, and go on. And what gives that resilience is when we have ways that we inspire ourselves, ways that we nurture ourselves, ways, and we need to find these ways to fit in with the lifestyle that we have at different times. There's ways to find connection even in lockdown. There's ways to connect with creative potential even in lockdown. Won't be what we could do a year ago, but they surely exist. And this is a really, I feel it's a very important day that the Mindfulness Society and the Medical Society in Cambridge have met together. And I feel hugely honored to share this with you. because together you can really create something very, very special. So when I planned this event with Shannon, we felt there's nothing like an experience to show you what it's like. So I have a Heart of Gaia meditation, which is being created for this event to give you a feeling of the style in which I share mindfulness. But I want you to remember that this I am one of many styles. I'm certainly not the only way. But the way I approached it was I need to draw on a connection which is beyond myself. I need to connect with the earth and the universe in a way that I am part of a flow. And I use pranayama and breath work to do this. The breath is something that connects your inner world and your outer world. It reacts to the way you feel in life. So if you are stressed out, your breathing will be shallow and rapid. And if you are relaxed, your breathing will naturally be deeper. But the interesting thing is you can also use your breath to modulate your state of physiology. You can go about it the other way. And this is something that the ancient yogis knew and practiced very well. So before we go into this practice, I want to introduce you to your breath as a friend for life. And I want you to carry these messages with you as you go through life. It's like my gift to you during this session. So just take a nice deep breath in, everyone together, and release through your mouth. And when you normally breathe in life, you probably breathe more up here in the chest. I want you to focus on breathing more with your diaphragm. So sort of nose to belly, start breathing. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now take a deep breath into the nose, and this time release the breath through the mouth very slowly. And notice how that can relax the body. So if you extend your exhale, if ever you're feeling stress, take a nice deep breath in through the nose and have a long exhale through the mouth. Now, every athlete, every peak performer longs to be in the flow state, when you're in coherence, when you're one with that moment. And you can use the breath to help you get here too. And that's when you breathe in and out for an equal count on the in breath and the out breath. So you breathe in for, say, in, two, out, two, in, two, out, two. And you can start in a 2-2 rhythm, you can go to a 4-4 rhythm or an 8-8 rhythm. All things that I'll introduce you to in the meditation. And if you want to awaken the body, you want to retain that depth of breathing, but breathe faster, because that sort of energizes the whole system. So 3 very little tips to take away. If you want to relax, extend your exhale. If you want to get into the flow state, in breath and out breath the same length. And if you want to wake up before you have the cup of coffee, take a few deep breaths in and out, but do that quickly. And you'll find yourself feeling very much more energized. And after that, if you still need it, do have the cup of coffee. But use those little tools as you go around. They're very, very powerful, and they will be friends for life. So let's begin our experience. There's no prior experience needed. I'll guide you through this routine that we're going to do together. And before we do that, I want to share a few pictures with you, because one of the things I do with the Heart of Gaia meditations is show some images to help us connect with a place, animals, and the natural world to enhance the experience. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. So let me make this bigger. So the start of every Heart of Gaia journey begins with connecting with the earth and the energy system as described in yoga with its chakras. And if we think about in terms of modern medicine, it does have links with the way the anatomy and physiology of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system work. We always have a swim from where we are, which is in the United Kingdom, over to the location that we're going to move to. And the swim we always do with the dolphins. And the reason for this is that the moment you think of a dolphin, it often brings a smile to our faces. They're very playful, intelligent, loving animals. And in ancient traditions, they also have an ability to connect with humans in a way that brings a deeper sense and awareness of the nature of reality. And cetaceans are very sacred in ancient Hawaiian culture. The location we are going to go to today is the Big Island of Hawaii, a very, very beautiful part of the world. And at a time that we can't travel, the Mindfulness Society, who have been coming to the Sunday sessions, know that we've been exploring the wisdom and beauty of the Hawaiian Islands for the last few weeks. This is the Big Island as you're approaching it, seeing the landscape. This is the type of typical magical coastline that you see. And something I want to connect to during this journey is the volcanic face of this island, which is a very raw representation of the creative energy of the world, where you see the lava pouring down into the waters, and it is a very vibrant connection with the fire element. And then, during a part of this journey, there'll be a connection of expanding to sort of connect more with the universe and the stars, and seeing the Earth from being in space. And these sort of guided visualizations are there. And the first time you do it, you may not see something, you may feel something more, and it may take a few goes before you start to very clearly, vividly visualize something. But practicing it in the meditations also helps you to take it into your life when you want to do a project, when you want to create something, when you want to change the trajectory of your career, when you want to figure out what the next move is. You've created that ability to have a rich inner imagination, so you can combine that with your linear analysis and your thought to take your life and create something very special. So that's why we enhance these during our meditative practices. So let's all have an experience together, and then we can be open to take some questions. Okay. So for the experience, down in a comfortable position, and gently close your eyes. And place your right hand on your heart and your left hand towards the earth. And take a nice deep breath in together. And release. Take another nice deep breath in together. And release. And now take another nice deep breath in together. And this time, as you breathe, feel the gentle energy of the earth come through from the left hand to the right hand and to your heart. Find your own natural speed of breathing with this music. With each inhalation and exhalation, deepen and slow the breath, bringing your awareness to your heart. With a sense of gratitude for the intuition and guidance it gives in life. Gently connect with your feet on the floor and feel the energy of the earth rise through your legs, through the knees, through the hips, and reach the base of the spine. And now breathe in deeply in and out, feeling this energy rise. Shades of red through the root chakra, shades of orange across the sacrum, and shades of yellow and gold across the solar plexus. And now feel this rise and meet the heart in shades of green. And from the heart, feel it rise to the throat. Shades of blue that awaken the ability to communicate with eloquence. And rise to the third eye, awakening your intuition like a sapphire that sparkles. And now through the crown of your head, all the way through above and to the stars. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, feeling a connection between the earth and the stars. A deep, nourishing connection. And feel the energy from the stars come back to the earth, being the portal and the connection. And now come back to the heart. The richness of being human and the person you have become. And rest here in that connection. And now from this beautiful connection, it's time to connect with a dolphin. In your mind's eye, visualize a dolphin coming towards you, with whom you will swim to Big Island in Hawaii. Notice the laughter and playfulness of this animal and connect with that joy. And as we connect in this way, you're going to breathe in a 4/4 rhythm. Feel into this music and feel yourself lying on the body of the dolphin. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Feel this rhythm and music and connection as you swim through the waters of the earth. Breathe nose to belly, in through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Release through the mouth. 2, 3, 4. And as you breathe with a dolphin, try and see the ocean through the eyes, appreciating the beauty and the curiosity these animals have, connecting with the nose. Connect with the mouth for the joy. Now connect with the fins, the dorsal and the pectoral fins, for their intuitive capabilities. And have your feet rest on the dolphin tail, connecting with Gaia herself. Very deep connection that these animals have. And now get ready to take a deep breath in together. Now take a deep breath in, filling your lungs, every bit of your lungs, pushing that diaphragm down, and hold your breath. Squeeze your pelvic floor muscle. And now release your pelvic floor muscle, the Mula Bandha, and release your breath. And as you release your breath, let your feet touch the sands of Big Island. Now have a little moment saying goodbye to the dolphin, letting it swim back. And just enjoy the waves of Hawaii. What it's like with the sand between your toes, the salty air on your lips. And there is a local crew who have brought a little boat along. They're going to take you for a tour around the island, showing you the magical landscape of Hawaii. Those tall, majestic green mountain cliffs that come into the ocean. And they describe how the Hawaiians, the ancient Hawaiians, had a wisdom, tradition that connected people with the land. They used to honor the sunrise and the sunset, the cycles of nature, and the rich landscape of plant and animal life for something that they considered very sacred, and they lived with in a very harmonious way. And they want to show us what creation in a very raw form looks like, and they take us to those cliffs where you start to see at a distance the fresh lava flowing into the ocean. And as you watch this lava flow, there's a sense of many years of people who have come to this place, looked and understood the earth, and connected with themselves. Feel into this music. And get ready to breathe. In, 2, out, 2, in, 2, out, 2, in, 2, out, 2, in, 2, out, 2. On the inhale, take in the energy from the core of the earth and release. 2, in, 2, and release. 2. Breathe in the hope of generations and release everything that no longer serves humanity. Breathe in your own dreams and release all the stress in life. Breathe in hope. Release despair. And now from this place of connection, find your own intuitive breath. And listen to the music of the earth itself. Allow that wisdom to come into every cell of your body, connecting you with your own wisdom. Feel this connection and get ready to breathe. In, 2, 3, 4, release. 2, 3, 4. Use your breath to connect and release. Now with every in-breath, feel yourself rise from that boat and the earth becoming smaller and smaller. It's like your in-breath takes you higher, and in your exhale, it's like the propeller on a rocket that is taking off, powered by your breath. You're rising above the earth, and you're seeing the earth from above. You're seeing how the mountains and the lands connect beneath the oceans. And the interconnection of life. It's like you're seeing the big picture and you rise. Rise with your breath, and with the exhale, it's bringing you home. Let it take you so that you see that magical moment of Earth from space. And you see our planet for her beauty, her abundance and grace. Breathe in, 3, 4, release, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, release, 2, 3, 4, big breath in all together. Hold your breath And ask yourself the question, who would you be on an earth that is a mature planet? Now release your breath all the way out, connecting with that future potential, and hold your breath. Now start to breathe again. But this time you're connecting with the people and the realities of a new earth. An earth which honors every human's talents. Breathe in. 3, 4, release. 2, 3, 4, in. 2, 3, 4, release. 2, 3, 4, hold this rhythm. Allow your breath to help you create that new earth. The best of you that is supported in every way. Now allow yourself to look around you in outer space. And you realize the earth is never alone. Neither are you. There are many stars and planets. Breathe slowly and deeply, as if you are exploring space with your breath. Connecting with the birth of stars. And allowing that energy of creation to fuel your own inspiration. What would you like to create? See that in space is the place that all creation happens. Around all matter is space. Allow your imagination to create a world that you will be proud to have created and leave behind. Such is the gift of our times. And notice as you create this, that we're doing this not only for ourselves, but for the generations that came before us, and for the generations that will come after us. It need not be an inheritance of loss. It could be an inheritance of the very best of humankind. The very best of all life. As you look at Earth, see how when Gaia looks at life, she sees it as oneness and interconnection. And when we interconnect, we are one beautiful, amazing world. And allow yourself to breathe with the whole of Earth and the whole of the universe. Human potential at its very best. A world where every decade is honored. Breathe in, 3, 4, release, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, release, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, release, 2, 3, 4. Now in this quiet moment, think of something you would like to plant in the new earth. Take that seed and get ready to plant it. And extend your hand to drop that seed onto earth, to grow into its full potential. And notice how and feel a connection that the entire universe is behind your back, to allow that seed to flourish. And now, before you leave space, there's one magical thing that you're gonna do, and that is to connect with the 5-year-old you. And you're gonna breathe with the stars, with that 5-year-old's dreams, and listen to that wisdom. We're going to do a box breath together with that 5-year-old version of us. Gently feel that small hand in yours. The trust and hopes of the little you. What wisdom do they have to bring to your life now? Remind you of what you've forgotten. In, to, hold, to, release, to, hold, to, in, to, hold, to, release, to, hold, to, in, to, hold, to, release, to, hold, to. Breathe in with the wonder of that child. Hold, gazing out at the stars. Release and hold. Breathe in with the wonder of the night sky. Hold. Exhale those dreams of the child, knowing that they can blossom. Release and hold. Breathe in with you at every age. And exhale, connecting with that part of you that is timeless. coming back to the wisdom of your heart and the beauty of the universe and the earth that you live on. And now on this magical journey, it's time to come back to Earth. But we shall do so along with the morning rays of the sun. Just connecting into that moment before dawn where there is emptiness. Emptiness is where there is potential. Often in life, we try to fill it. But what if we knew to explore and honor it for the potential it gives us? From this place of connection with space and emptiness, we start our return. Feeling those morning rays, merging with them and returning to Earth, having those sun rays warm our skin, our face, and allowing us to connect with all of life. We breathe into a new dawn of love and respect. We allow that sunrise to awaken us into the richness of who we are. And we bring this light to people we meet. Encouraging them to spread their own light, like one lamp that lights another. There is a gentle illumination of the earth. And now from a sun ray to connect back with our body in this moment, we're going to have a little playful exercise where we're breathing for a count of 8 and we release our breath as if we were blowing out little bubbles for a count of 8. And the practice here is to take in the lightness and playfulness of the universe and release it through your breath. And feel the lightness of this. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, release. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, release. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, release. In 2, 3, 4 with a smile and release those bubbles of bliss. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, place them everywhere in your room. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, release. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now place some in yourself. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In those grumpy peeps in your life. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Spread them in your town. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Across your nation. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Feel those bubbles of bliss bringing you back. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let them bring you home. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And how was it in question time? I love the smiles I'm seeing.
I don't think words can describe. It was wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Jacob. Thank you. One of the things when I was starting to create the Hatha Gaya practices that my friend Jennifer told me, she was like, can you please have a fun ending? She was like, meditations always have, she was like, it's beautiful, but it's serious. And she was like, I need some fun. Can you make it fun? So I always acknowledge her when I see the big smiles at the end, because that's when the bubble breath got created. I was like, okay, how can I make this fun? So that's like a signature ending now.
Yeah, definitely the most fun ending I've ever had to a meditation, or perhaps most activities, really.
Personally, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I cried at some point, like in really, because I don't know, I felt really emotional, and especially with the dolphin part, because I don't know, I felt so happy all of a sudden. Like it was really, I don't know, I cannot describe it actually. It first it made me cry, and then when you mentioned the child, it made me feel really emotional because it reminded me of when I was younger, and sometimes I feel like I miss the innocence of being a child. So I don't know, it made me feel really nostalgic and emotional, but in a good way. So really powerful. I mean, it was amazing. So thank you so much for that. I feel just really good now. So thank you.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it in that way, and also those parts. So dolphins and whales to ancient Hawaiians is very sacred to them. So they believe that the Akashic records of the earth lie in the cetacean animals, which is sort of like, it's a little bit like saying a record of human history is in those animals. But whether that's 100% true or not, they have a very, very playful presence when they're with humans, and there's that instant connection when you're with dolphins. I've loved dolphins since I was a kid. I even wear a dolphin pendant all the time, and when I was right throughout, when I was a child, my bedspread was a dolphin. If I have a notebook and there's a dolphin notebook, I tend to buy the dolphin one. So last in 2019, I met a guy who uses dolphins for healing on a trip to Mexico, and I learned a lot about what he was doing in the way of ancient healing traditions was intuitively what I felt when I was with a dolphin. I always felt joyous. I felt this connection, this curiosity was kindled in me. And he describes the energy points in the dolphin as the eyes for beauty. His name is Jan Lamourie, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. He describes the nose for sort of curiosity, the mouth for joy. The dolphin blowhole is like the dolphin breath. So I use the breathing with the dolphin to sort of connect with the dolphin in an energetic way. And then the dolphin fins, he calls the dorsal and the pectoral fins for multi-dimensionality and telepathy, and the tail is the Gaia connection. And in the way he teaches and works with people, he describes it almost like how we would consider the chakra system in the adults. But naturally, I found a certain resonance with his descriptions. Like the moment a whale's tail comes out of the ocean, or a dolphin tail comes out of the ocean, I find that moment very magical, particularly if it's a whale and it has that sort of slow but very powerful presence. So I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And our childhood, I really believe that our innocence is with us always. And many of us in childhood, you know, maybe we couldn't express that playfulness as much as we would have liked, but it's with us all the time. We can express it now. And I often say, you know, a little bit of goofiness is mandatory, even if you are in the most prestigious conference, the most prestigious place, giving a talk. That's what connects us as humans, is our laughter and our spirit. And it's a vital part to bring in. And I'm somewhat unapologetic about it. I always say, well, that was the goofy factor. You know, it's just as important as the more intellectual aspects that I discussed. Yeah. Any other questions and comments?
I absolutely loved this session. Thank you so much. I was just wondering if you've ever encountered anyone who isn't like reciprocative, I can't think of the word, of like mindfulness techniques, and how you overcame that, and maybe.
Mm-hmm. So I over the years I've allowed people to more come to me and talk to me about it versus trying to convince them. I found that that's much more powerful. So my presence and people watching how I would handle a problem or how I would go about life, and them asking me, for example, how do you not get worked up, and how did you giggle your way through that? Is a much more powerful point of me sharing about mindfulness than me trying to convince a person outside a situation. The other thing, when someone is very resistant to it, I have certainly found people who go, oh, isn't that a load of mumbo jumbo, or you know, it's not for real diehard scientists. It's like for the softer end of the spectrum. And what I always say is, it's a very personal choice. And I use a music analogy a lot. And I always say, you know, people wouldn't choose the same form of music. But if a person, say, for example, goes for a long run, and they love that long run to clear their head, what I explain to them is that's a form of mindfulness. Now, that's not mindfulness as in a Heart of Gaia practice, or mindfulness the way John Kabat-Zinn thought it, or Sharon Salzberg thought it, but it is a form of mindfulness where you're clearing your mind and you're creating that space. So what I often say is, even those who think they're not doing mindfulness, they're often doing it in some form in their life. And the types of practices are very, 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 very individual. So I take the pressure off trying to convince somebody about it. And I allow them to see that this is something which they either already do and they don't realize, and maybe they would like to explore more. And I lean into the curiosity and the fun element. So people get curious as to why I'm so into dolphins, or why I love the music so much, or why I'm doing breathing. So I use that sort of the artistry a little bit to raise the awareness. And then very few people I found have really been resistant. They very often then, and the other thing I thought would be a barrier is when a person says, for example, one has to practice 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening, or you have to practice an hour a day. Those are things that turn people off from something that could be super supportive. So I always say that the practice is flexible. It's there to nourish your life, to support your life, and find the person who connects and resonates. And the moment I tell people, it doesn't have to be me, you can go to anyone. The next thing I know is to say, please, can I come and learn with you? So I think also taking that kind of possessiveness away from it, about having to be right, and having really allows that person then to exploit for themselves. So that's how I found it. But I think what really what people connect with, and as I often say, as a teacher can take you only to a place that they have been, or a place that they're willing to go with you. They can't take you to a place that they don't know. So there's either a willingness with this in sort of mindfulness, meditation, yogic practice, this kind of teaching and evolution, that, so for example, someone might come and say, I want to work on this with me, and it may not be something that I've done before, but I can explore it with the person. But I'm then open to go there with the person and discover something new with them. Or it's a place I know and I'm sharing that. So I always tell them that's one way to understand. And if somebody doesn't think or vibe with you, then they wouldn't get that. So somebody who is very, very serious, maybe doesn't like such a playful style, I would be the wrong mindfulness person for them. They would prefer, there are loads of people who would suit them. And so I always leave that openness, and I find that allows, so I see it like, as a physician, I like to raise the curiosity in people to go and explore it, to come try. And they can come and try bits and pieces. And then when a person is inspired to learn, that's really beautiful, because then they're learning because they want to learn, not because somebody said you have to go do an 8-week mindfulness course. And then, and also, I love an experiential way. So it's not so much you have to do it this way in a lot of theory, but you almost have the experience, and then you go and learn why you had the experience. And then it's like mindfulness awakens your inner wisdom, your own inner Merlin, or your own inner Yoda. It's like giving you that perception. I often think of it a little bit like, the training Karate Kid, where he's training the guy to sense the world without actually looking at it, so predict where the blows are going to come from. So what mindfulness is doing is it's expanding that sense of perception and awareness of your environment. So a story from my house officer days, we had an amazing physician in our hospital who always knew which patients would go off in the weekend. And if you looked at their chart, there wasn't a whole lot different to some other patients to predict that these were the ones that were going to be in trouble. And I remembered one weekend, after a weekend on call, I knocked on his door on Monday and I said, I'm really sorry to trouble you. I know I'm only the house officer, but I was like, how did you know? And he was like, he kind of looked at me quizzically. He was like, it's been a long time since someone asked that question. And I was like, no, but I really want to know, like, how did you know? And then he told me something really interesting. He said, and the next day he said, all right, I'll show you the difference. So we had seen the first patient on the ward, John, and he asked me, what did you notice? So I was like, well, the patient was awake. They had their breakfast. They seemed to be getting better. And he was like, no. He was like, describe to me in words what the patient's cubicle looked like. And of course, you know what it's like as the house officer. You're the last person on the ward round. You're just about taking down in the notes what the consultant said. I had far from noticed anything beyond the fact that there was a blue bed cover, some uneaten breakfast on the table, and on the contrary, this consultant described in detail the cards, the clothes, the food, the way the person was dressed, in such exquisite detail that in that 5 minutes he totally understood the patient as a person. And that was the difference. So when he looks at so it's a different kind of awareness, and an awareness that is so important because medicine is both a science and an art. And what he had taken in, and then I trained myself to follow that, with each encounter that I did. And I found that I understood and I related so much more. So, so I think the greatest people in every profession, they do this naturally. They may cultivate it like as a mindfulness, but they also may just naturally be this way.
Sorry, I just wanted to say something else. I just wanted to know what music you use, because the music was really great, but I don't know if it's like something you created or if it's something you found online, or because I would be
So,
really interested in listening to it again, because this was really good, I think. Really enjoyed it.
so I think the session is recorded and it's going to be shared on YouTube. So some of the music, one of the tracks, the Dolphin Swim, is my composition. I would love to be in a date where all the music I use is my own composition. It's just time doesn't allow me to do that right now. So I do license music for the meditation sessions, which I pay licenses, and I can overlay and create like a meditation track out of it. You're not allowed to release it as a song itself because it belongs to the artist, but you license the right. So like for today, I said, okay, I was making for a Heart of Gaia meditation, and I licensed the music to create it. So and I spend a lot of time selecting the music because I want the music to bring certain frequencies and certain resonances to people so that it really tells the story of the meditation. It's like a chance to be a film director, like if you strip the soundtrack off a film and only the words of the actors, it's half the message is gone. So this is where the artist in me loves this work, because it's taking people on a journey and using the music to do that. So another way to listen to this is I'll share the link to my website. You're very welcome to sign up. And then I have the meditation tracks, and I have it runs in 4-week cycles, introducing people to the Heart of Gaia. And you have the meditations of different lengths, all the way from 3-minute tracks to 1-hour tracks, and it shows you how also to use this in your daily life to support you to be the best of you. So you'll have just the opening, the connection with the earth, that'll be one, and there's a dolphin swim one. So it allows you to also assemble it the way that you would like. Actually, before I forget, I will type this link in the chat, so you can access them from there. Oops, I didn't spell that quite correct. And there's also so the sessions on the Wednesday and the Sunday, you're very welcome to come, and the links for the sessions are also available via the website. And then that's like a live session which has the music, the meditation, and each time there's a new theme, there's a new journey, and a new. So on the Sundays we first explored The theme is Waters of the Earth, connecting with the fluidity and the flexibility that the water element brings us. And we've gone from sort of exploring a volcano to exploring, to swimming with the whales, to exploring the life cycle of a coconut tree. So it has like a very earthy theme to the meditation on the Sundays. The Wednesdays is it's the Starlight series, which is kind of releasing and all the stress in the midweek. It has sort of a star theme to it, in one way or another, and it's really to promote good sleep. So it's very focuses much more on the breath works that detox and release the stress. Athena, how did you find it?
I really enjoyed it. I liked how like interactive it was and the different kind of elements to it.
Wonderful. And Harriet, how did you find it? I think Harriet may be struggling to unmute herself. Karen, how is it for you?
Hi, yeah, thank you so much, Oshi, for that lovely session. Really enjoyed it. Found the music to be really powerful as well. And it was great to share the experience with you all. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Shannon, how did you find it?
Yeah, it was really lovely. Thank you. As I love the style of your session and the journey that the visualization takes you on. And I love how it's different each time, and it kind of allows you to explore what's going on in your subconscious visualization, which is what I love about them. So yeah, it kind of reminds me that I really want to start coming to more of your sessions, because I do really love the technique.
You're so welcome, and please, my sessions are on the Wednesday and the Sunday. They're on Zoom, so there's no barrier to coming, and I don't charge fixed fees or anything like that. So please don't feel as a student it's unaffordable or something like that. It literally is open to everyone. So please do explore them, and also explore the website. It gives lots of tips and tricks and meditation and mindfulness, and it has, so the sessions are an hour on the Wednesday and an hour on the Sunday morning, and to support that, what you do in the hour, what's on the website via the members club is sort of short routines to support you during the week between that, and the two sort of link in quite nicely with each other. And do also share with your friends, your family, anyone whom you think would enjoy it. They're always welcome. It's a little community that's forming, and a very beautiful one that stays hopeful and stays positive during these times. And I really do believe will create a better world in the process. And I encourage you also to try doing creative new things every day, even if it's just for fun. And it's not something that it's not the main thing you do, but it is going to make the main thing you want to do twice as good. And you're also very welcome to reach out to me if you want any guide, any advice, or any support, or you have any questions, if it's in medicine or about finding your specialty, just wanting, I had a lot of amazing mentors in my life. I've been very lucky. So you can always email me or reach out anytime.
Thank you so much, Oshi. It was such a pleasure to have you and to experience that meditation and visualization with you. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I think we'll end things there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.